Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome back to the Brawn Body Podcast. This is our first episode of 2021. We've officially crossed into season 2 of the podcast. Happy New Year, everyone. So, today we're going to be talking about building the right mindset, and not just the right mindset for, your resolutions and goals, but a mindset that's going to cultivate and carry you throughout this year. If you didn't recall, we just got beat down a little bit by 2020, right? We got knocked down. But just like the movie Rocky tells us, it's not about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. Because that's how winning is done. It's not about how many times you have to fall down. It's about how many times you stand back up, right? Once you fall down and stay down, that's it. You're done. Game over. You got to get back up. 2020 knocked you down. Now it's time to stand back up. Now, how are we going to do that? We have to build the right mindset. I want to start with a quote. If you have everything under control, you're not moving fast enough. This is from Mario Andretti. So let's think about that. If you have everything under control, you're not moving fast enough. What do we mean by that? I don't know what your goals are. Maybe your goals are to get fit this year. You want to lose a little weight, get a little healthier, get a little more energized. Maybe you want to start a business, start a side hustle. Maybe you want to start a podcast or a blog. Whatever your goal is, maybe you want to read. Why haven't you started it yet? Is there something holding you back? Are you stuck in that feeling of, I just got to get the right details. I got to figure it out. I got to get my plan together. Look, you're not going to be able to come up with a perfect plan for everything every time. I think I did talk about this in our last Motivation Monday episode of the year for 2020. Sometimes you have to jump off that cliff and build yourself an airplane on the way down. Sometimes that's what you got to do, guys and girls. Reason is, if you're stuck in that planning phase, you're going to get so lost with yourself. You're going to think of all these little things and what ifs and what if that. I need to do this. I need to account for that. But when you jump in and you go after it, you'll pick up on those things and you'll figure them out along the way. And while you're figuring them out, you keep moving forward and you're making progress instead of staying stuck where you're at. You're not going to have everything under control every step of the way. Things are always going to come up. But being able to adapt to them and be resilient and bounce back from them as they come at you, that's a true test and a true sign of good character. That's a true sign of success. So whatever it is you're scared of doing, whatever it is your goal is, get after it. Seriously, go do it. Go do something right now that'll put you closer to accomplishing it and achieving it right now. Feel free to pause the podcast if you have to. Make sure you come back. But seriously. So, next quote. When a great ship is in harbor and moored, it is safe. But that is not what great ships are built for. That's from Clarissa Estes. So let's think about that for a second. Your body, we're told, is a temple, right? The body is sacred. You only have one body for your entire life. Your body is a great ship, capable of doing amazing things. And when it's in harbor and moored, maybe that's, sitting on the couch in front of the TV with your feet up, whatever your definition of that is, you're safe, right? But that's not what the body's built for. Think about it. You ever think about that when you're watching the TV and something like American Ninja Warrior comes on? You ever think, wow, look at those guys. Look at what they're doing. They're jumping around. They're climbing up 14, 15-foot walls. They're doing all these crazy things, right? And that's what the body was built to do. That's what we were made to do. Remember, our ancestors, hunter-gatherers, what did they do? They spent all day on their feet. They spent their days hunting, gathering food, cooking. They were constantly on the go. They were nomadic. Our archaeological evidence shows that our ancestors averaged over 12,000 steps per day. How many of you get 12,000 steps per day? Our evidence shows that the longbows our ancestors used to hunt and kill animals for food had draw weights of over 110 pounds. How many of you struggle to shoot a 70-pound drawback compound bow? And these were 110 plus pound draw weights, and they were long bows. I mean, think about that. That's what the human body is built for, to be physically relentless, to be resilient, to be unstoppable. Now, how many of you are keeping your body in the harbor and not living in its true potential and not letting it run free and roam free? Now, how are you going to do that this year? Let's think workout. This is a health and fitness podcast. So, of course, we're going to talk about workout, right? Workouts are not just building muscle, right? It's not just building the physical aspect of your body. It's not just building, the structure of the ship itself. It's building a lot more than that. It's building the character within it, right? So think about going back to that ship example. I like that example. If you take a ship through rough waters, physically, it's going to come through okay. But the character, the resilience that it displayed, you're going to have a lot more trust. You're going to have a lot more courage taking that through rough waters again, right? It just did it successfully once. It's going to do it again. So workouts are the same way. Workouts are going to do more than build muscle. Workouts are going to boost your courage. Workouts give you the feeling and satisfaction of achieving and accomplishing your goals that you've set for yourself. And that aspect of workouts are going to carry over to the rest of your life. You can set goals for anything, and you can work hard, and you can achieve them. It gives you purpose. It gives you meaning, and it's going to kill what we call the failure and victim mindset. That's a term I really like. If you're someone who's like, well, it's not my fault that I'm unhealthy. It's not my fault that I'm, not fit or not in my best physical condition. Seriously, go look at yourself in the mirror and point the finger. You got no one else to blame. Reason for that is when you start getting fit, when you start exercising and working out, you'll see your body change in response to the stimuli that you provide to it, right? You work out. Your body changes and adapts as a result. No one else can do this for you. This is you. You are in control. And if you fail, if you come short of your goals, then what do? You work harder next time. And even if you did fail, you're probably a lot closer to where you were than day one, right? And it teaches you to focus on the long term, because when you work out, you don't just walk into the gym and walk out in one day, looking all buff and shredded and ready for the summer, right? This teaches the importance of delayed gratification. It teaches that nothing worth having comes easy. The gym, or wherever you work out, your home gym, outdoors, whatever, it's practical. It's a source of learning. It's a place for all your ideas. It's a lab to test them, and it's going to give clear feedback. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. And it's going to teach you principles, values, standards. And the thing is, the better you are at this, the better you are at fitness, the better you're going to be at every aspect of life. I mean, think about it. Why are people in Silicon Valley, the tech guys and the millionaires and all these great entrepreneurs, why are they so focused on fitness? Well, the psychological and physiological benefits, the list goes on and on and on, are unmatched. We call exercise the magic pill. We've done an entire episode, or maybe 2 episodes, about all the benefits of exercise. Not one system in your body is untouched by the benefits of exercise. Seriously, exercise is very good. But the problem is, you have to have a relationship with sacrifice in order to exercise, right? There has to be some kind of sacrifice. And this is true for any goal you have. You have to sacrifice something. So, if you want to get in shape, You're going to have to give up some of that time on the couch. You're going to have to give up some of that time in front of the TV. You're going to have to get up and you're going to have to go after it. You might have to go for a walk, go for a run. You might have to stretch or hit a yoga flow. You might have to go lift weights. You might have to do calisthenics in your backyard. It might not be the warmest day out. It might not be perfect weather. It might not be your ideal time to work out, but you're going to have to do it anyways. You want to know why? Because if you want that better life, if you want that higher ground, if you want to climb that mountain, if you want to move up, if you want to get that next level, you've got to go through the trenches. You got to dig in the trenches for a little while. You got to get your hands a little dirty when you're digging for gold. I can go on and on with metaphors like this all day, but I'm thinking you get the point I'm trying to make here is you have to make the appropriate sacrifice in order to get what you want. I mean, we can talk about all kinds of different people historically who are considered successful that have had insane relationships with sacrifice. For the music people that are listening, Frederick Chopin or Choplin or whatever, I'm probably saying his name wrong. I am not a music guy, but his story, it's crazy. He'd be going about his day and a melody would come to his mind, right? He would lock himself in his room and he would basically just begin a quest in order to get what was in his head on paper, right? You had to write down music at the time. His record was 6 weeks he spent on a single paper. Think about that. He spent 6 weeks on one paper. It's not going to come easy. You're going to mess up along the way. There's going to be failures. Michael Jordan himself said, I failed over and over and over again. You've all heard the story, I'm sure, of how he was cut from his high school basketball team. And he says, that's why I succeeded. You've probably heard me talk about Thomas Edison time and time again. He was a failure, right? Dumb. He had over 1,000 patents. He tried over 1,000 times. I think it was 1,093 times trying to make a light bulb. Seriously. Took him over 1,000 tries. He failed over 1,000 times. And yet we regard him as one of the greatest inventors the world has ever known. Because eventually, through all the failures, through all the time that he sacrificed trying to make this thing that no one else could see but him, the light bulb clicked for him, literally. And the problem I see here is we're cultivating that mindset, again, that instant gratification. We love prodigies. We don't like people who work too hard. We don't like workaholics, right? Our culture is softening us. We're becoming domesticated. Seriously. Think about domestic animals, right? Everything is provided for them. It's easy. Life is good. Green pastures, green grass, and high tides. Now think back to what I said before about our ancestors. Hunter-gatherers, nomadic, on the go, moving around constantly. They couldn't just go to the grocery store and get food. They had to gather their food. They had to grow their food. They had to hunt their food. And it wasn't easy. Now think about if we had to go back to that today. If we had to go back to that kind of lifestyle, how many people do you think would be able to do that? How many people do you think would be able to do that? I don't think many would. And it's scary. We're teaching people that sacrifices are relics for the past. And you don't need to sacrifice anymore because we're living in the 21st century. And I'm sorry, but that's the wrong lesson. If you look at these successful people that everyone looks up to, they've all got a relationship with sacrifice. You look at Elon Musk. How many times did he go broke trying to make it big? Sure, yeah, PayPal was a big success, but he reinvested all the money he had from PayPal. He could have stopped, right? He had over $100 million to his name when he sold PayPal. He could have stopped right there. But instead, you know what he did? He started SpaceX. He went over to the USSR and he bought some old Soviet rockets and he started SpaceX and he almost lost all of his money. He worked insane hours. I think it was 100 plus hours a week trying to make all of his different businesses and endeavors a success. Jeff Bezos, when they started Amazon, Amazon was nothing. Steve Jobs, they started Apple from nothing. Bill Gates, from nothing. All these people you look up to, all these people that are successful, all these people you're like, man, I wish I had what they had. I would do whatever it took, right? And they laugh because they know what it took to get there. They know the sacrifices that they had to make in order to get to where they are. And they know people would not do that, right? Or think about the Navy SEALs. Think about Hell Week, okay? What does Hell Week look like? Extreme sleep deprivation, lots of running and, push-ups and sit-ups and squats and swimming, rowing, cold water, cold weather, you name it. And every hour, you're going to get a little reminder. You can just ring a bell and make all this pain and suffering end. But you go no more. You go no further. And if you want to have that coveted Navy SEAL title, if you want to be the best of the best, right? You have to endure the pain, and you have to have sacrifice and diligence and sweat equity, and you have to do what it takes to push through that short-term pain. There's no instant gratification there. It's just pain. You push through that, and then you get that delayed gratification that comes at the end, the light at the end of the tunnel of being called a Navy SEAL. And I'm using these different examples to try and show you that, hey, maybe the way you've been living your life, maybe the mindset you've had, maybe it's not working. Maybe it's not sticking for you. Maybe it's time to shed that skin and put something new on. Try something new this year. If your old ways didn't work, how many times, how many years in a row have you said, this is the year I'm going to do this. This is the year I'm going to do that. And how has that gone for you? If you keep getting stuck and that broken record going around and around and around, it's time to change the player. It's time to put some new skin in the game. And again, this is not easy. It's not going to be perfect. There's no perfect storm or perfect time or perfect day for everything to happen for you. Okay? I like this quote. Here's another quote for you. I've been reading a lot, I told you. This one comes from Lord Naoshagi. And again, I'm probably pronouncing these awful. This guy wrote a book for the samurai. So Japan. I think it was Japan anyways. And he says the way of the samurai is in desperateness. 10 men or more than 10 men could not kill such a man. Common sense does not accomplish great things. You have to become desperate. He said desperateness. He said desperate. Think about that. How many of you are desperate for success? How many of you are desperate to make your goals come a reality? How many of you are desperate? What would you do? What would it take for you to get there? I like to think about myself during finals weeks. Okay, so I'm in grad school, if you didn't know. When finals week rolls around, I'm usually sitting pretty good, grade point average, that sort of thing going in. But you see how much of your grade is left on the line. One exam could be worth 40 to 50% of your final grade for a course. One exam. Literally, if you did bad on that one exam, you could fail the whole course and you're out. You're out of the program. You don't come back. You come back in a year and you repeat it. You repeat that course. It's not easy. It's stressful, right? So what do? You work desperately. You work diligently. You put in sweat equity. And then that exam comes around and you kill it. You crush it. You did what you had to do. You were desperate for success because you knew the consequences of what could happen if you didn't succeed. Now imagine if you worked like that in everything you did. Imagine if you approached your workouts like that every day. If you went into the gym, or you went into your home gym, or you went outside, and you said, I have to succeed today, or else. Imagine if you went into work. You said, look, I have to do these 3 things today. They have to get done There's no excuse not to get them done. I have to. I'm desperate to get them done. Imagine what you could do if you worked with desperation. Imagine if what you could do if you worked and refused to ever be beaten, to ever make an excuse. Think about that. Now, I've given you a lot to think about. I've given you a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas here, and feel free to go back and re-listen and take notes, whatever you've got to do. But here's what I want you to do now. Get out a piece of paper or open up the Notepad app on your phone, okay? And write down 3 things. Give me 3 goals, okay? What are you going to do? Write them down. Okay, you got them? So you got your goal. Now, I want you to come up with some ideas on how to get there. I want you to pick one idea, the most actionable one, and go do it. Go do it today. You're not waiting for the perfect storm. You're not waiting for the perfect day. Weather might not be good today. Weather might be better tomorrow. But if your goal is to lose weight and your actionable step is go on a 30-minute walk, then guess what? I want you to get up and go out on a 30-minute walk today. Well, what if I don't have 30 minutes? What are you going to do? You're going to find 30 minutes. How are you going to do that? Well, maybe you adjust your bedtime. Maybe you cut out the time in front of the TV. Maybe you cut out the time in front of the video games or whatever it is. Maybe instead of, sitting down at lunch, maybe you take your lunch on the go and you're walking around eating. Maybe you take an extra bathroom break. And you get 2 or 3 minutes of walking in. Maybe you park your car at the back of the parking lot instead of the front, and you take 5 minutes to walk in and 5 minutes to walk out, and there's 10 minutes of your 30 minutes of walking. Whatever it is, you find a way. If you want it bad enough, you find a way. And if not, you find an excuse. So write down those 3 goals. Brainstorm all the different ways you can make it happen, all the different things you can do. Pick one thing. One thing out of all those 3, just one actionable thing, and do it today. Prove it to yourself that you've got this. Prove it to yourself that you're starting in the right direction, that you're taking the right steps. And the thing is, you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to look at that list. And you're going to say, wow, I did this yesterday. I could do that again. That wasn't so bad. And then you're going to go and you're going to do it. And you're going to say, hey, while I'm at it, maybe I should do this one too. I'll do one more today. And then that's going to compound. And over time, one thing leads to another, And you cultivate a better mindset. You cultivate these habits, atomic habits, that just carry you throughout all aspects of your life. And with that, if you have any questions or you need any help this year in 2021, be sure to follow us at Brawn Body, Brawn with a W on social media, because we're always here to support you. We answer every DM, direct message. So please feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to like, subscribe, and share our podcast with people. Share our pages with people, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. We appreciate all the support. And if you feel so inclined, there's a link to support our podcast, and you can donate a little bit of money, just $1 a month. Seriously. Seeing that makes me smile, it makes me happy, and it makes me know that we're having an impact on people who are going to do great things, amazing things in their life. And that's going to motivate me to keep putting out great content for you and keep giving you whatever tools you need to succeed along your health and fitness journeys. Thank you, as always, for listening to the Brawn Body Podcast. Thank you for your support. Happy New Year. And stay tuned, because we have an amazing 2021 coming up. Let's get it, y'all.